Record. All right. I'm Mario Munoz, Group 5, and this is our, I pulled up the wrong one here. This is Lab 3, Fast and Forgetful, ES number 6. All right.
All right, this is Edwin Vaught. I am group member C.
Les Rose, group member B.
All right. So I guess I went in through here, and the ones that they flagged me, I updated mine here by responding. And then I guess here, let's see where our group ones are. There we go. All right. We'll go ahead and start. We'll do it in order again and start off with 1. So Marie claimed a UFO moved back and forth around the same point in the sky, and she concluded that it was under intelligent control because of this motion. What might account for the illusion of motion if the object was not, in fact? We all put B, the autokinetic effect.
Yes.
Yep.
Got that one.
Claim 2, or sorry, number 2. Andrew claims to have seen a face in the clouds. What would explain this illusion? We all picked A. I'm going to butcher this. Pareidolia?
Sounds good to me.
That's good to me.
I'm open for suggestions.
Pareidolia.
There you go. Seeing shapes and objects, basically.
There you go.
And the example given that we were given were shapes of clouds. So that one was pretty slam dunkish.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. The section of the lab dealing with Mary A and Mary B was intended to show that we all picked E. The order in which information is presented can affect our perceptions, and that, if I recall, it was how the order of words were put. If negative words were at the top, people picked negative, and if positive words were put at the top, then people put she was likable.
Yep.
First
impressions matter.
All right, number 4, use the graph in the Fast and Forgetful GLQ PowerPoint found in the assignment or at the link below. A researcher wanted to determine if drinking sodas causes weight gain. So she conducted a study in which subjects were asked to recall how many sodas they drank each day, on average. And then she weighed the subjects. She then determined how much heavier the subjects were relative to reference group consisting of healthy people who did not drink sodas. The weights for the members of both groups were calibrated based on body, height, and gender. Below is a graph showing a regression plot for the data obtained in her study. How does the correlation appear to be between numbers of sodas drunk per day and excess weight? And A, quite strong. Looking at that graph, it shows, you drink more sodas, you have more weight to carry around. So doesn't mean that that's exactly the reason why, but that's what the data is pointing to.
That's correct.
Good.
Yep. Now look at the graph on the next PowerPoint slide showing the actual data combined with the regression line. Based on the information, how strong does the correlation appear to be? We all looked at it and agreed that it was still quite strong. The points on the line still show a steady increase, a positive growth. Based on the more sodas you drink, the more weight you carry.
All right. After examining the data, the researcher concluded that the result of the study clearly showed that drinking sodas causes excess weight gain, and the more you drink, the more obese you will become. To what degree does the data support her conclusion? And we all chose D because it does not examine which is D is the data consistent with the conclusion but are not sufficient to prove it. And because it does not examine the person's diet or how much they do or do not exercise and what the size of the experiment group and control group and what kind of soda are they drinking, whether, and I meant like this diet soda or sugar soda, whatever.
Man, I just got a comment, man. We all know one of those people, one of those people, man, they drink sodas and they eat junk food and they're skinny as a rail.
Yep.
Man, I know people that like that, it's like, do you ever drink water?
Yeah. No.
Have a glass.
Whatever water's in my soda.
Yeah.
Or my beer.
Yeah. And they're skinny as a rail, man. That's another, those people that all they drink is beer on the weekends, man.
Yep.
And if I drink, if I have a 6-pack a week, man, I gain 3 or 4 pounds, man.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Not fair.
All right. So moving right along, 7. The experiment with soft drinks entailed a study of 20 people. Is this a sufficient sample size upon which to base strong conclusions? And we all chose C. No, it is not. 20 is too small to come up with any concrete evidence that, that's what that data means. I mean, you need a larger study than 20.
Yeah, agreed. Based on the general population of the world, 20 is not enough.
No.
All right, what type of fallacy might the researcher be committing, if any? We all believe it was false cause. The researcher does not have enough evidence to support the claim. Again, back up to the same question of before, 20 is not a large enough group. And you can't just say all sodas make people fat. You've got to, factor in all the other variables.
Good. All right. What other factors might be relevant to the result of the study discussed above? And we all picked D. B, C, and D might be relevant, which is health story or health history of participants, diabetes, allergies, current prescriptions. Are the sodas the same, diet versus regular, serving size and additives? And activity level of participants, is their workout routine and what kind?
Yep.
And some 10, we got use the graph from the GLQ PowerPoint or the link below. The scientists hypothesized that decrease in pirates increased global temperatures. After examining the data, the researcher concluded that the results of the study show that a decrease in pirates is correlated with increased temperatures. But we need more data to conclude there is causation. The data is consistent with my hypothesis. Why does the scientist use the word consistent instead of prove? The scientist uses the word consistent instead of prove to avoid the false cause fallacy because, and are looking to get more data to fulfill the false, let's see here, screwed that up. Sufficiency from filters. So I guess, he's pointing to, he's looking at something that's kind of correlating, but it's not really the cause of why the temperature's going up, just because there's less pirates. So that's kind of a false cause, even though there is less pirates now than there was back then when the air was cooler, doesn't exactly prove that that's why the air is cooler.
Yeah, I had originally picked causation correlation because it was basically two things put together to try and make a claim. That two things that didn't go together, basically two completely different statements to try and cause and effect, so to speak. So I picked, pirates decreasing, temperature increasing. You can't really make those two go together. That's kind of where I was hung up on that one. I did change it to false cause because I believed that the word consistent instead of prove kind of opens the door for additional items to be added to it. So prove is kind of, I was thinking of it as prove as being something that was final, a hard yes or no kind of statement, where consistent kind of leaves it a little open-ended. That's kind of how I was reading into it.
So I think false cause. I think we're on that. I mean, and I could be wrong. I look at sufficiency, and I'm wondering. So she's got on there, do mention needing more data, but to mention consistency because there are more possible explanations. So instead of sufficiency, would it be comprehensive instead of sufficiency?
Of the filters, yeah.
Yes, on the filters, comprehensive instead of sufficiency, because in the comprehensive, the looking at all possible
Factors.
factors as opposed to just being sufficient for the cause. So that may be where we screwed up or
Was on the filter part.
Yeah, on the filter part. Because I think false cause. I think we're there on false cause. Like you give a really good argument for causation correlation. But I think we're good on false cause because it's saying that this is causing that and they have no correlation whatsoever.
Right.
I think where we're missing the point, and if somebody wants to look that up, or I could look that up, but instead in the filters portion of it, instead of sufficiency would be comprehension or comprehensiveness, or the C part of the filters. Let me skip ahead.
So how do you want to?
Let me look it up.
Here and
The evidence must be exhaustive. That is, all the available evidence must be considered. The successes of physics, for example, are cited without reference to their much more numerous failures. So the evidence must be exhaustive. That is, all the available evidence must be considered. That's comprehensiveness.
So that would fit better than the sufficiency clause.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, what does sufficiency say? It's got to be very close. The evidence offered in support of a claim must be adequate to establish the truth of the claim.
Well, that's a pretty good one too.
Yeah. The burden of proof of any claim rests with the claimant. Extraordinary claims demand extraordinary evidence. Evidence based on an authority and or testimony is inadequate for any extraordinary claim. I'm just kind of reading through here.
yeah, extraordinary claims. That kind of go. This is pirates and weather. Like that's extraordinary. Like it needs extraordinary evidence too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's really, I don't see there being enough evidence to support that claim.
I like comprehensiveness. That kind of, but the way this is from LaJollaBridge.com is where I'm getting this from. I just did a Google search for the filters just to pull them up. And that's the definition of causation. Let's do another search here.
And that's the portion that she's talking about. Give the part filters some more consideration. So, that was the only reason. And at first, when I was first looking at that, I was like, man, that sure sounds like comprehensiveness. I said, but sufficiency also would fit.
Yeah.
So I think false cause fallacy, because false cause fallacy could be tested in comprehensiveness in the filters. Need to add to that or take away from that, or
No, that's
it right on the money.
think we're good there?
I think so.
All right.
And that's it.
What did I miss? She had marked a bunch on mine. What was it? I have not had a chance to look at it since I filled it out. So what was I missing? What was she saying that where was I wrong?
Let's see here.
Like every one of them.
Back up to the top here. All right, stop one.
All right, that one. Dependent variables, manipulated variables, brain experiment, dependent variables. but we don't change the dependent variable, I think you should review the video again and perhaps reference the dry mix activity below. Which variable is a manipulated variable? Give an example from the video above. So that was I gave her straight off of the.
I'll have to watch the video again. I don't remember the video.
2 test groups.
Oh, that was a MythBusters, right? That was a MythBusters video where they did the experiment on.
Oh yeah, if you ran or
if you ran or if you walked.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
So the dependent variable is a manipulated variable.
So, but we don't change the dependent variable.
So the variable is the amount of rain, but that's what I put, the mass of rain.
Yeah, because I answered right above you. The dependent variable is the measurable item from the groups. So we were measuring the mass of the rain, weren't we?
Yeah, right.
No, the independent was whether they ran or whether they walked. That's what changed. So that's what's independent.
So it should have been the independent variable is the manipulated variable?
Yeah, that's what, yeah. We don't change the dependent variable.
That's right. I screwed that one up. Yeah, it's the independent variable.
The independent is what changed. The variable is the dependent is what we're measuring. There we go.
So here, I'll knock this one out for you. We can do this real quick while we're here. The independent variable is the manipulated variable. The rain experiment, the dependent variable is the mass of rain on the person's clothes if they ran or walked. The dependent variable is the mass of rain.
That's a true statement. The dependent variable is, well, yeah. Or is it the dependent variable?
The measurement of rain stays the same. You're measuring it. What's changing is, I mean, of course, they're what's that word? Not inverse, but they are
converse.
Yeah, they are in conjunction. Like, if you either walk, you get more rain or less rain. You run, you either get more or less. So, good with that, Eddie?
Yeah.
All right, here.
And then this one, where there's no, is very subjective and depends on the person who's drawing the line. In a scattered graph, the line could be anywhere. Usually, do stats programs calculate where a best fit line should sit based on our data? This does not mean that the line is really appropriate for our data. However, the best fit line is as good as it can be, but if you have exceptionally scattered data, then the line isn't very accurate.
Strong correlation.
So I don't know. Is she saying that yes, the best fit line is, well, okay. So I agree with that. Yes, it could show a strong correlation because remember the one question we had down at the bottom about the sodas. So yes, it could. I mean, she pretty much answered it for me. If they're scattered, then yes, you have outliers, and it's not. So
yeah.
yes, it could be. It could depict a strong correlation. But it says always depict a strong correlation, and it really can't always depict a strong correlation. And that's where I'm looking at is those words that are like always, never.
Yeah. The definitive wording.
So yeah, that's why I wrote what I wrote. Maybe I just overthunked it.
With the exception of the outliers.
Yeah.
Do that?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's the point of it. I mean, when you have all the data on the graph, your job is to make it wherever you draw it, whether it's up here or up here, down here, your job is to make it where it fits.
Yeah.
There's no, where you draw that line.
I got you. Yeah, I was stuck on that. God dang, all of mine. Does the data support Cassandra's hypothesis? Is it strongly supported? No, the data. What is this one? Ticket. Photographs. All cops are body cameras. We all know the truth.
So I got the book here, and this is.
So it does show, like, as the body cameras, so the use of force was high, and then when they put body cameras on, yes, the use of force went down. So, yes, if she was correlating her situation to the use of force and that graph, then yes, it would support the data. But that's not that. There I go, overthinking it again. It wasn't about hers. Wasn't a use of force. Giving a ticket to somebody is not the use of force. But I see where we're going here.
Supports Cassandra's hypothesis. What is it? Complete use of. How do you want me to word that for you?
Yes, the data supports the hypothesis. Focus on the complete portion of the graph. I don't put use of force, but the Cassandra's hypothesis in regards to the complaint portion of the graph. And then you can put due to the fact that the complaints went down when officers wore body cameras. Damn body cameras. Can't beat nobody up.
I was thinking about you when I was reading this. I was like, man. So I changed this to there are other hypotheses that could be consistent with this data. So like the data is very specific. When I went back and thought about it, hypotheses have to be very specific to one thing. And so like, again, the comment here was, I'm just restating the graph. So I kind of changed it up a little bit, and I put cops that are under surveillance will use less force. Cops that use less force on suspects will not receive as many complaints.
So I think what she's trying to say here, this kind of restates the graph. Are there other variables? Well, did the officers receive better training? Because that was really what, and I'm just going off of what I teach and what goes on, but are they receiving better training? Are they receiving more community-oriented policing? Are they using community-oriented policing tactics? Like those, that's what she's trying to say.
Yeah, I guess too. So I could also add where they're policing. Are they policing in a
high crime area, high traffic? Yeah.
Yeah. Are they on a highway, or are they on a rural road?
Right.
Where are they out in the county, or are they in downtown?
Right.
Downtown area.
Yeah. Are they?
I would stick more to like the training thing, because as far as so you have an area, and depending on, like, if it's a county or a city or whatever, you have a beat, and I get it. Is your beat in one of the in one of the so-called bad neighborhoods or whatever? Yes, your use of force is going to be higher if your perception is of that. But that's really not what cameras are going to change. You know what I'm saying? People obviously are going to act different when they know they're being recorded. That's just human nature. But like we teach a body use camera police officers, and we teach that class, and that's kind of what the whole thing is about teaching that class. But what it's more about is teaching everything that we taught in law enforcement has been hands-on. Like you spend so much time in defensive tactics and patrol tactics and officer safety, and like, you know, you kill or go home. That's it. I mean, that's, you got to have that the warrior mindset. And now with everything that's happening in law enforcement, it's gone more to, okay, now we need to take a step back and we need to do more, not necessarily sensitivity training, but this crisis intervention training and de-escalation tactics and stuff.
Awareness,
So
yeah.
yes, and that's where a lot of that is where that's coming from. And it's not just the use of body cameras, but it's the training that, you know, back in the day we used to teach this thing called verbal judo, which was kind of like using your words, but it was still had judo in it, so people were still like, well, still technical, right? But now it's gotten to more of the de-escalation, and use of force is really what it's supposed to be, and last ditch effort. You know, that's a big hot ticket right now. So there's a lot of training out there for law enforcement on stuff like that. That's just my 2 cents.
Oh, well, it's more than 2 cents.
No, what do you know, Eddie?
Yeah.
We'll move on there. I think.
Damn it.
Okay, so I got this one here, and so it changed at the very end. What is Darnell's more recent hypothesis? This is presented in the script. So in the script, at the end here, he says at the very last paragraph, or the very last, you know, he spoke, he says, oh, hey, looking at these data, it wouldn't be unreasonable to infer that you may have forgotten some of the details about being pulled over, Cassandra. Even I have to admit, I don't have a perfect memory. I'm starting to rethink this camera thing. So he goes from, I have a perfect memory, I know I can remember everything like it happened, to maybe I need to, you know, maybe, you know, we don't have perfect memories. And so at the end, he kind of does a 180 there.
Okay.
About, you know.
So what would the hypothesis be? People don't.
I was confused too, because it doesn't lay it out in like, so I kind of like, that's what I changed on mine. I said, so yes, the graph, because so my question was, do these data support Darnell's hypothesis? Why or why not? And so I said, no, the data does not support his hypothesis, because I thought his hypothesis was, I remember everything. And the data shows that the more time that elapses, the less you retain. So that's why I added, you know, when I went back and looked at the book, it's basically, you know, it doesn't say it exactly like how you would say it. So I just kind of put, yes, the graph data does support Darnell's hypothesis that people forget some details as time go on. So
we'll just put that as the hypothesis. As Darnell's hypothesis is people don't remember everything or don't remember details as they think they see them. Something like that.
Darnell believes that people do. Good there. You want me to reward it differently, or?
No, that's fine.
Then I think that's it, guys.
Cool.
Ability, we did all these. She didn't say anything about this stuff.
Right. And then there's the questions, yeah.
Got all those highlighted. All right. Go here. All right, guys.
Do your
Awesome.
eval.
I'm going to submit that. And so when that thing went down, when it went down this past week,
Yeah.
I clicked on say or submit the wiki like that. And when I did that, I had done probably like 4 or 5 of the questions, and it said the internet site cannot be found. And I was like, what the hell? And that's how I found out it went down. So I had to go back and re-answer those. You know, it was down for a couple of hours.
Yeah, they must have had a server crash. They had to have.
Yeah. I
Well,
was kind of hot. I was like, what the hell's going on, man?
I got one better than that. When I first started this lab, I went and I finished all of my questions. And I don't know how it happened, if I highlighted everything or whatever, but I hit something and I erased the entire wiki. Like it was gone. Everything was like there was nothing left. I was like, what the fuck? And I looked for, so that you can't really see that whole heading. So I had to go one by one looking at until I found undo and clicked on undo and it all came back. I was like, oh, dude, I was sweating balls. I was like, I erased the whole wiki. It was gone.
That's crazy.
I was like, what are you supposed to do in a situation like that? And, man.
They told me my work was supposed to come back, but I didn't trust them, and sure enough, it didn't come back. But
Man.
I read somewhere at the beginning of the course they said that if you contact them, they do have sometimes they can go back to the last save point.
Do restore, yeah.
Yeah, they got shadow copies or something.
Wow.
Oh man.
Yeah, I almost screwed us all. Like
No, man. No, got to keep on getting these points, man. I'm surprised I did as well as I did. I don't, like I said, I'm only taking this class, you know, of course, the class, the lab, and marketing 33. But I got 21 more hours left.
So do I.
I got 10 this semester and 9 next semester. I'm done.
Oh, man, lucky dogs.
Yeah, it's killing me, man. Because I put all the hard ones off to the end, so I got this one's not that bad. It's just tedious, but the other ones are just brutal. And next semester is not going to be any worse.
Yeah.
I feel like I spend 90% of my time on this class.
I'm so paranoid I'm going to miss something in this class.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so many places, you know, now that I've gotten in the rhythm, but man, at the first 2, 3 weeks, man, making sure I clicked in all the right spots.
Yep.
I still do that. Like, I know I've done my journal. I know I've done my Sparrow. So I'm like, okay, got those done. Now I can focus on getting my questions, my RQ, my reading, my individuals. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. I was a lot of reading this past week, man.
Yes.
Reading.
Yeah. And the videos, man, they're long. They're interesting, but they're long.
Yeah.
Have y'all done Sparrow yet?
Yeah.
No, have not.
It's long because there's a bunch of videos and stuff you got to watch.
Yep.
I'm going to do that, knock that out. I'll probably do some at work tomorrow and then, Saturday and Sunday. Got to get it done.
It's not hard. It's just you got to watch the videos and you have to pay attention because some of them you got to match people with little statements and it gets tedious.
Yeah.
But I think that's where I learned most of my stuff was from those Sparrows.
Yeah, they were fun. I like them. I like the Sparrows.
Yeah.
If the way they do it is different, it's almost like a chat kind of a text kind of thing. So it's really
text message and
it's really fun to. I enjoy doing those.
Cool.
Good job, guys. I'm going to go ahead and stop it, and then I'll get this video uploaded for our extra credit, and we'll see y'all.
Don't forget your evaluations.
Oh yes, go peer evaluations, and don't forget what group member you are.
Yeah, I know your member number.
All right, fellas. Y'all have a good night.
All right,
Thanks. We'll see y'all later.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.